Hello, sweetheart. Today, I'm going to share with you a story that I'm not proud of, but it happened. I need to get this off my chest, and what better way to do it than this? Here I am, hidden behind anonymity. See, my name is Emily, and I'm 30 years old. I have long brown hair that falls in soft waves down my back, hazel eyes that used to feel full of light, and a body that I keep in shape, even though lately I've been feeling more distant from myself than ever. I'm the woman who looks like she has it all, on the surface anyway. A steady job, a husband named James, who's the very definition of stability. We've been married for 8 years now, and while things aren't terrible, they aren't exactly great either. Sometimes I wonder how we ended up here, in this place of quiet indifference. James is a good man. He's responsible, steady, the kind of guy you'd want as a partner when you're thinking long term. But the problem with long term is that sometimes the passion fades. We used to have it when we were younger. Things were different. But as the years went by, the connection we once had began to slip. He works long hours, and when he comes home, he's exhausted. We barely talk anymore, except about bills or what's on TV. Our sex life has become predictable, almost non-existent. It's like we became roommates instead of lovers. I tried to tell myself that this was normal, that this was what marriage looked like after a few years. Everyone goes through dry spells, right? But deep down, I was craving more. I wanted to feel desired again, to feel that spark I hadn't felt in years. And that's when I met Daniel. Daniel was different. He was the kind of man who could walk into a room and have every woman's attention without even trying. He worked for a company that partnered with ours, and we met at a conference one weekend. I remember the first time I saw him, tall, with dark, piercing eyes, and a smile that made me forget how to breathe for a second. He had this confidence about him, a way of making me feel like I was the only person in the room when he spoke to me. At first, it was harmless. We'd talk during breaks, joke around about the boring sessions, and grab a drink after the meetings. But there was something between us, something electric, something dangerous. I felt it every time he looked at me. It was thrilling, that feeling of being seen again, of being wanted. It started with flirting. Innocent, right? Just a few teasing comments, lingering glances, casual touches that lasted a little too long. But the more we talked, the more I realised I was drawn to him in ways I hadn't been drawn to anyone in years. He made me feel alive, made me laugh in a way I hadn't in what felt like forever. I should have walked away. I knew what was happening, but I let it continue. The temptation was stronger than my guilt. One night, after too many drinks, Daniel invited me back to his hotel room. I hesitated for a moment, standing in front of the door, knowing what this would mean. But then he touched my hand, and something inside me gave in. That night, we had fun, if you know what I mean. I can't even say it was just about the physical act. It was everything. The excitement, the thrill, the way he looked at me like I was the most desirable woman in the world. It was the kind of passion I hadn't felt in years, the kind that consumed me. His hands on my skin, the way he whispered in my ear, the way he knew exactly how to make me feel wanted. It was intoxicating. For a moment, I forgot everything. I forgot about James, about my life back home, about the guilt that was sure to come crashing down. In that moment, it was just me and Daniel, and it felt like I had finally come alive again. But then, the morning came. I woke up next to him, tangled in the sheets, and reality hit me like a punch to the gut. I looked at him, sleeping peacefully beside me, and all I could feel was shame. I slipped out of bed, got dressed quietly, and left without waking him. The drive home was a blur, my mind racing, my chest tight with regret. I had crossed a line I couldn't uncross. I tried to act normal when I got home, tried to pretend like nothing had happened. James greeted me with his usual smile, asking how the trip went, and I lied to his face. It was fine, I said, forcing a smile, feeling like I was going to be sick. Every time he looked at me, I felt the weight of what I had done pulling me down. But I didn't stop. I told myself it was a one-time thing, but it wasn't. Daniel and I met up again, and again. Each time, it got easier to lie, easier to make excuses. I'd tell James I had a late meeting, or that I was working on a project. And then I'd be with Daniel, losing myself in the heat of the moment. I was playing with fire, and part of me didn't care. But the guilt, it was always there, lurking in the background. After every encounter, I'd drive home in silence, tears stinging my eyes, wondering how I had let myself fall so far. I hated myself for what I was doing, for the lies, for betraying James. But at the same time, I couldn't stop. Daniel was like a drug I couldn't quit, and I was addicted to the way he made me feel. Then, one night, everything changed. We were in his hotel room again, clothes scattered across the floor, his hands on my body, when something inside me snapped. I looked at him, really looked at him, and all I felt was emptiness. This wasn't love. It wasn't even passion anymore. It was a hollow escape from the life I didn't want to face. I pulled away from him, suddenly feeling cold and exposed. "I can't do this anymore," I whispered, my voice shaking. He looked confused, but I didn't wait for him to respond. I got dressed as quickly as I could and left, slamming the door behind me. That was the last time I saw Daniel. He tried calling, texting, but I didn't respond. I couldn't. I had already done enough damage. I had to stop before I lost everything. Now, I live with the regret. I wake up next to James every morning, and I wonder if he can tell. If he can see the guilt in my eyes. If he suspects the lies I've been telling. I haven't told him the truth. I'm too scared of what it would do to us. I love him, despite everything. But I don't know if he'll ever forgive me, or if I'll ever forgive myself. I'm trying to move on, trying to rebuild what I've broken. But some nights, when I'm lying next to James, I think about Daniel. Not because I miss him, but because I can't forget what I did. If you liked this story, subscribe for more. Also, gently press the like button. It helps me a lot. I hope you have a good day, baby. Kisses.